Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Sons of Montezuma podcast. The Aztecs are back on top. They're the greatest team in the Mountain West. They're going to go all the way to the natty. Okay, let's slow our roll down just a little bit, guys. But it is a victory Sunday. We are back, and hope you stick around. We're going to talk all about this game against Boise State and what's to come. See you in about 2 minutes.
Defense. McKinney driving. The Coronado native hits a runner. Boyd has hit a three and a few drives and another. Clock's down to 5. Buchanan goes hard. That's Boyd. It is. So good. Oh! Jared Coleman Jones. JCJ as they call him. Dagan Hart against the smaller Boyd gets Gwath pins it. Gwath into the corner. Boyd. Dagan Hart chasing him. Boyd getting in. Boyd scoring against Dagan Hart. Gwath had some nice moments in the first half. Boyd rotates. Corner three. Good. Davis. He's lefty, and he gets to the glass and scores, and Davis has a steal, and Davis has a bucket. And we'll have won 6 of their last 7. And Boyd is one shy of a career, yes, that's a career high. A regular season sweep for San Diego State over Boise State. And the education of Magoon Gwath continues. This guy is spectacular. 6 blocks, 8 points.
16, no Fab 5 here, we got the Fab 15. Everybody contribute, getting us to the dream. Dreams become reality, reality and reign.
Oh boy, the Aztecs did it. Welcome everybody back to an episode of the Sons of Montezuma podcast. Of course, you guys know Mateo. You can find me at Mateo San Diego on X, Twitter, Sons of Monty on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Want to apologize for taking a little long to get on the stream. Had some technical difficulties, but joining us, well, you guys know him from East County to East Tahoe. He is Mike. What's going on, Mr. Tortolot? How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? Big win last night. 7-2 in the last 9, 6 of the last 7. Maybe the sky is not falling down upon us like everybody seems to be seeing lately.
Okay, you said we were a little dramatic in the last episode, but we're not used to this. But the Aztecs, let's recap it. 64-47. Big winners on Saturday night against Boise. And we're gonna get into it all. Better late than never. And it's not entirely his fault. Not entirely his fault, right? Okay. What's going on? You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. It is. What's up, Fiend?
What's up, man? Are we doing a podcast tonight?
Yes, or now.
Apologies, everybody. We had some technical difficulties. I see you guys in the chat. I thought this show started at... Oh boy, yeah. It's Mexican time. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? You know, when you drive a 1990 van, sometimes you run into some issues with the van. So, prayers to the van. It made it home safely to where we could start this thing. But thank you guys for joining us.
This is
Fiend, how are you doing?
Van. I'm good, man. This is the same van that you proposed that we drive to Houston for the Final Four. I am so glad we did not do that. We spent the entire night in Vegas before our red-eye flight.
You love to tell a story. That would have been an adventure. It was an adventure. That would have been, well, I don't know if we would have lived to see that adventure. Okay, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button before you guys do anything else. Doesn't cost you $1. The Aztecs, like I said, 64-47 over Boise State. Sweep the season series over the Broncos. They made, is it safe to say we made an ass out of Boise State, the Donkeys? guys, we held them to their lowest shooting performance, shot percentages, all that good stuff of the season. I mean, this was a beatdown. It was dominant. You know, the score, I've seen people say, hey, we should have scored more points on Boise. We should have scored, why are we scoring? I mean, this was a grinded out game. This was all about defense. This was all about rebounding. This was like an old school Aztecs. This was Aztec basketball, and it was a thing of beauty. Dutcher said in the San Jose State game, which we didn't even recap because it was such an exciting game. It came down from 17 at the half once again. He said that was the most beautiful game out of what we've won now. What, 6 or 7? Is that what you said, Mike? Is that kind of the
6 or 7, 7 and 9?
Woo! So Dutcher said that game was beautiful. I think he would prefer a performance like what we saw last night than having to come back from 17 down. And just to give you my thoughts before I turn the mic over to you guys, it just felt good. Midway through the first half, I'm looking up at the score, I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, man, this feels good not to be down by 15, 20 points and having to go in at the halftime break and be like, come on, guys, get it together. Let's, rile them up and go play Aztec basketball. They came out the jump on fire, intense. And that was ultimately the name of the episode on the thumbnail, guys. Adding that intensity, dialing it up a notch, dialing that intensity up a notch. This is how you play in February. We got to see it. Mike, am I being dramatic? Floor is yours.
About getting a dub?
Yes.
Getting one
against our rival, Boise State. Our rival, right? Our rival.
Anyways, so I don't remember last time we beat them 2 times in one season in the regular season. I don't think we swept them in a while, honestly. Yeah. 6, 7 years maybe. But they don't really have a big center. They don't have a big front court. So I'm not really shocked by that after we look back at the depth. I mean, they have one kid who's 7 feet, but I don't think he played. So, taking advantage of that is what we needed to do, and we did it twice. So they had to shoot lights out to kind of beat us, and they didn't do it. And we had a complete game. Like, it was the first time we've had a complete game, and I love the fact that they were going to the rim and then starting from the inside and then going back out, So I listened to the interview with Nick after the game, and they said after that, or at halftime of that San Jose State game, well, actually, this is in the Ziegler article, they had a kind of come to Jesus meeting with the team. They're like, hey, man, we got to get going here. And they did. And then Nick came out and said, hey, we just got to play consistent. We got to be consistent. And that's kind of what we've been saying, man. So it's, I was thinking about that when I was listening to him last night, and everybody's all about, oh, it's not a young team anymore. It's still, yeah, I get it. But the inconsistencies lead you to believe the team is still young because they can't get consistent, and I think there's a duality there between consistency and experience. And so this team is when they have it, they have it. When they don't, they're discombobulated. So last night they looked great. Again, they've won 6 of 7 as we look back on it. So they're playing good basketball with the loss up at Colorado State being the only one, and they could have had a chance to win that one if they would have shot free throws. But hey, we're in 3rd place, and we have a big game against Fresno State coming up, and I don't know. I don't know.
Fiend, let me turn it over to you because Mike's talking some good talking points, some really good stuff. But, the teams that we've been playing during these last 7 games, we're not talking about top tier Mountain West teams. We're talking about the bottom dwellers, teams that we're used to pounding into submission. We're barely squeaking by. But I do like Mike's point that, Boise doesn't really have that true big man, that imposing presence. But this is a very talented Boise team. They came in hot, winning 4 in a row, and we turned the water off. What are your thoughts, man? I'm interested to hear your perspective up there.
Just a great win. I agree with everything that you guys have said. Just to come out without being down in a hole in that first half was huge for us, especially from a confidence perspective. And to kind of put two solid halves together and blow out a team that we were only favored by a point and a half to beat. That's Aztec basketball. That's what we expect of this team and what this team is capable of. We've just been playing down to competition, and then we play up to competition. Fortunately, we only have a few more games where we're going to have to play down to competition, and then it's going to be playing, up. So that's a good thing. But I thought that they came out with great intensity in this game. You look at all the blocks, by Gwath and Bird, and talk about shutting off their water. I mean, I posted it earlier. They shot 10 of 27 at the rim, not even in the paint, at the rim. That's 37%. They're a team that has been shooting 67% at the rim. And I think Degenhardt even said that Gwath really gets in their head as far as having to adjust their shot. And when you have to adjust your shot, sometimes you don't make it. And so I don't know what it is about this team. I think we maybe just match up well against them. I agree with you guys that they don't have like a true center, so we are able to get downhill and there's no one to really contest at the rim. But they also have it's a weird starting group that they have. Besides Cardenas, they don't have any real small, quick guards that can keep up with our guards and keep them in front of us. And so they have all these guys that are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", and our guards were able to blow by them. And then there was no one at the second level. And you saw what Nick Boyd did, all those drives into the paint and getting easy buckets, and really big for him and his confidence. And great win. We'll see, the consistency. What does Mike say? Aztecs are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Is that the saying, Mike?
I mean, it's one of them. Life is like a box of chocolates, man. You never know what you're going to get, dude. Each day is different. Each team is different. Each game is different. So it's like, don't expect consistency with inconsistency.
Very well said.
Amen. Well, I think things begin on the defensive side, they end on the defensive side. But if you want to break it down to the individuals, you guys, we all saw Nick Boyd get out there against San Jose State in that second half. He was ultra aggressive, taking everything to the rim, had some crazy circus layups, and you were just like, man, this dude he was amped up for that second half, and it kind of led that charge. This game, he picked up where he left off. 24 points, a career high. It was the Nick Boyd that I think we all were really hoping to see these last two games. We were hoping to see when we got him over from FAU. So, I feel like whether it's a confidence thing, I'm not sure. I mean, it has to be, but just to see his skill, taking it to the rim, he added in with 6 rebounds, 10 of 14 shooting. I mean, he did everything. And it was just, he set the tone, I think, for this team offensively. Coming into it, if you guys read the preview article that we put out, neither of these teams were 3-point shooting. They're not at the top. They're not great 3-point shooting teams. And they didn't dispel that in this game either. But Nick Boyd kind of setting that tone, taking everything to the rim. I think it was a concerted effort, obviously, strategy. The threes that they took were good threes, 5 of 12. They weren't just falling in love with it. Everything he took was to the rim. And I love to see that. That's what I want more of until they can stop it. But like Mike says, they don't have that true big man in there. You got to take advantage of it then. You got to take advantage of it and do that. And I'd love to see that from Nick Boyd. Of course, going down the list just a little bit, Miles Bird with 10 points. He was active all over on the defensive side. BJ Davis, 5 points, but he was very active on the defensive side as well. I think there's been some talk about BJ, and of course, Wayne McKinney, 10 points, scored his 1,000th point in collegiate ball. I think BJ is being asked to be a defender from everything I'm reading from Coach Dutcher. He's being asked to cover, some of the better guys on the opposition. So good to see him contribute, hit some threes at some timely moments as well. Of course, McKinney with 10 points, he added in. Now, Magoon, let's talk about Magoon, guys, just a little bit. 8 points, Fiend noted, 6 rebounds, and the stats say 5 blocks, but I think you might want to give him more on that. There were a couple blocks where it was like 3 or 4 Aztecs just blocking all at once, and that starts with Magoon, man. He's just such a force out there, swatting shots, blocked by Gwath. Saw that T-shirt out there a couple times last night. Who wants to talk about Magoon's performance a little bit more in detail? Because there were some doubters out there at the beginning of the year. There were some. I mean, he started off great, and then some people were kind of like, I don't know about this. He's really coming on, man. And these last, I don't know, in this win streak and in this last couple games in particular. Okay, there were some turnover issues in this game. Let's not forget about that. But Fiend, I mean, you mentioned a little bit about his performance. He seems like he's really growing and getting more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, on both ends of the floor. I mean, he started out primarily as a shot blocker, and I think he was leading the nation. And then really teams were kind of pulling him out more towards the perimeter, and so he wasn't getting, as much blocks. And now because they were switching so much, I would love to see him kind of camp out more under the basket, right? Kind of like a Charles Bediako used to for Alabama, but he's just playing tremendous on the defensive end, and now his offensive game, shooting the ball, being able to back a guy down, kind of get his shoulder, and then that little soft fadeaway. He's got such great touch on the ball, and then his relentlessness on the boards, just getting the offensive boards, defensive boards. We were able to throw it in over the top to him, grabs it, dunks it. I mean, just he's been fantastic for us. And if we can get Bird going along with Boyd and some of these other guys, and we're going to be really tough to stop, especially with our defense.
That unrelenting defense intensity for 40 minutes, as Andrew says. What's going on, man? Mike, back in there, back in the house with a little visitor. What's going on? Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
Yeah. On a victory Sunday, everybody's feeling good about the Aztecs.
Yes. Get the hell out of here.
Scurry on.
She wanted to come say hi to you guys.
Anything you want to add in there, Mike? Defensive intensity. Magoon sets the standard really on this team, but everybody else, this was a team defensive performance.
I mean, Magoon just changes the dynamic of the whole defense, right? He like Degenhart said, it changes it. On the podcast, Dutcher has said straight up that BJ is his best defender. He is our best defender, so I'm gonna put him on our best guy. So that's high praise from Coach Dutch for that young man. So I mean, they just, when they play defense together as a team, I mean, they're really good, man. You know what I mean? Magoon in the center, and then you can kind of feed off of him, kind of like Skylar was. Just changes the whole, you got a guy behind you. Like Nick was saying, you could see one of the plays where Magoon's, grabbed it off of the backboard, that Nick was just kind of like slowing the guy down because he saw Magoon coming, So they're starting to play to Magoon's strength, I think, at some point, seeing that, knowing, hey, if I let him do this, he's going to be able to do this, or vice versa. So, you got a big man in the center that changes going to the basket, and then you have a lockdown defender in BJ. That is a really, really good place to start.
Mm-hmm. And what thoughts do you guys have on the turnovers from Magoon? Like the media's. I saw Vinny on our Facebook comments. I do read the comments. He says, the media talked about SDSU's turnovers as a whole, but Magoon did have 7 of them, right? That's going to be something, I think, moving forward, right? You gotta keep an eye on. Teams are going to really be swiping at the ball when he's dribbling. So it's not to say that there's not work to be done. I don't want us to get too carried away on this team. I opened the episode saying we're going to the Natty, we win again, we're the best team. Like, okay, slow down just a little bit. This is a great performance. It was a dominating performance, but there's still so much room to improve, to grow individually, collectively, all that good stuff. So I'm curious to see, JCJ seems like he's starting to get more comfortable out there. That reverse dunk was absolutely beast mode. Absolutely beast mode. I did not see that coming. And hopefully, he can get close to 100%. He seemed like it on that dunk. Absolutely.
he's playing with a real swagger and intensity right now, and that's what we need. And he's great at being able to handle the ball on the perimeter and blow by the big guys. He can really play well out there on the perimeter. I think Goon, I like, aside from the 3-point shot, I don't really like him dribbling as much on the perimeter. I think I'd rather having post. You could post him up and then sort of do some inside outs, and we did that in this game where they throw it into Goon and then he passed it out. I think he passed it out to Boyd and then kicked it over to BJ for a corner three. The thing with Goon, he just doesn't, his body right now, right? Like he's still developing. It's almost like you could blow on him and he falls over. He does fall down quite a bit. It's just going to take some strength, experience, to really manage those turnovers. But most big guys turn the ball over more than guards do. I mean, that's just the nature of it. But yeah, 7 turnovers is way too much. We were turning it over, especially in the first half. Just way too much in this game. And so that's been an issue early on in games and why we've been in deficits and we haven't been able to seize control of the game. It seems like in the second half is when we cut down those turnovers and we start playing better. But yeah, for Goon, he's just got to continue to get bigger, get more experience. But I do like the trend of how he's able to get some of these buckets inside. We were concerned we didn't have like a post game, right? And he's starting to give us that post game that we were hoping for.
Yeah, the post game was something everybody had been asking for, right? How come he doesn't get the ball down on the block? And I think slowly you're going to see that in his game. But like you said, it's just going to take a little bit of that time, that strength training, all that good stuff. Developing a shot in the low post with your dribble. JCJ obviously he's a senior, so he's a little advanced in that area, but you see how they're playing off of each other. I think it bodes well for the rest of this year to come.
It's not the same.
Oh, let's see. What else? When it comes to Goon, Brian says he reminds him of a freshman Kawhi. Kind of. I mean, he's got the 3 occasionally, right? You can't put it on the floor like Kawhi did back then. I mean, Kawhi could put it on the floor back then still. He was so good coast to coast. You couldn't stop him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can compare anybody to Kawhi, how he came out that first year, you know what I mean? But like Kawhi, maybe. But I mean, Magoon he's still, what is he, 185 pounds at 7 feet, right? So I mean, he's still gonna get. I like this. I mean, he's gonna get bigger, obviously. So, he's still thin, man, and he's still playing like he's playing. He's playing more confident. So, if he ratchets it up and plays the defense he plays, and then feeds off the offense of that, and helps everybody else, I mean, he's dangerous.
Dude, his ability to run the floor and track down guys like he did to Dagenhart, pinned it against the board and snatched it. Got the block and the rebound in the same play. That was awesome. That to me, I mean, him that play and JCJ's reverse dunk were the plays of the game, in my opinion. I mean, and just the crowd just went crazy, both those plays, and so that's awesome when you can do that at home, get the crowd going, and wow, I mean, that's going to be on his like college highlight reel, when he's going pro. I mean, those clips like that. Just outstanding.
Curtis chiming in. He weighs 207 pounds. Brian, he's like an 8th grader playing against 12th graders.
He did look like he was in 8th grade when I first met him at Swish League. I mean, he was, like $165 or something like that. So I guess he just eats all the time, which is what he has to do. And he's starting to, put some weight on, but I don't think, honestly, I don't think that we really thought that he would be where he's at this year. Thought maybe another year of development before we'd start to see this form that he's showing. So this is a promising sign, and he's only going to get better as he continues to mature.
So, Mike, what does this make, dude? I mean, Boise kind of had on a number of the last. Boy, I mean, they were beating us what?
Like 6 of the last 7 or something like that. Something in that ilk of losses. You know what I mean? Like, I think they
3 in a row.
Yeah, like
dating back to last year.
Yeah, I feel like Degenhart was like 5-1 against us his first 3 years or something like that. So
pretty good sign moving forward, right? Pretty good sign, 2 in a row.
5-3 now. Hello. But they just, I mean, you know, we just matched up well with them, or we match up better with them than we match up with other teams. You know what I mean? He's just, which is strange to think, because like you were saying, you beat the 4th ranked team or whatever by combined however many, 17 this game. I don't remember what was last, the game before, 9-10 or something like that. But then you eke it out against San Jose State twice, you know, and then you have Wyoming. And it's a fascinating sample size of how we play against who we play and the outcomes. I mean, we're still winning them, right? Which is what you want. But then sometimes I guess we just matched up with Boise better than we did the last few years. And then they lost their guys right at the last second and stuff like that. So I think maybe they had a problem. They were planning on having their guys that ended up transferring late in the thing. So, but hey, you know, it was our year to beat them twice, and thankful for it. And hopefully, maybe we'll see if we see him a 3rd time in the tourney.
Yeah, I feel like we actually probably match up worse against San Jose State, even though they were missing Will McClendon and Josh Aduje in that game. Latrell Davis and Donovan Yap, those guards, they are so quick, and we had a really hard time getting by them. And they were up in our face and you know, defending us really hard. Plus, they could take that aggressiveness because on the back end they had guys like, you know, a couple 7-footers, that Ngaga, they had Viola, they had the other Chol or whatever, Marion, I forget what his name is, but some 7-footers back there that they could rely on as a second line of defense. And so I think that, I mean, I would not want to play San Jose State a 3rd time, you know, in the tournament. I don't think we really match up well with them because we have very quick guards. And I don't think that we match up well against teams that have very quick guards as well. And they've got guards who can shoot. That Latrell Davis hits like 50% from 3-point range, right? And so it's so unforgiving if you just get off him just a tiny bit. You know, he has any room to shoot, he's going to make you pay for it. And so they were just really able to spread the ball and move the ball and get really quality shots in the first half. And they had some open looks in the second half. They kept it after that run. They kept it close. You know, it was kind of neck and neck after we went that 17-0 run, right, to start in the first 5 minutes. But man, they were tough, and they were down 2 of their best players. You know, so hats off to Tim Miles. That guy is a great coach. I mean, San Jose with, you know, they also had like the most fans. They never have fans there, and they were able to get fans out, right? Everyone gets up for San Diego State. You know, you can even get fans out at San Jose State for us. Man, that was a heck of a game. I felt like this was a much easier game than that last one.
But then San Jose just completely drops an egg to Nevada, 73-58. Like, I don't know. We hype them up. They're individual players as if they're so good. Latrell was just complete. He looked like Latrell Sprewell out there, just knocking everything down. NBA quality player. And then they go drop that thing in Nevada. Like, good Lord.
I mean, maybe it's just, you know, they just shot lights out, but they did it twice on us, you know, and we were down big. I mean, they just, I don't know. I just don't think we match up well against them. And I think that teams that have really quick guards, teams like, you know, Utah State has some quick guards. New Mexico, obviously, with Dent. Dent might be the best player in the conference. I would say he and Nick Boyd have probably the quickest first step in the conference as far as point guards, and being able to blow by guys. But yeah, I mean, those are tough matchups.
Well, let's get into some of the comments in just a sec, because this game, what can you say? It was a dominating victory. Glad we got out of it injury free. I think February ball is when things start to get serious for Coach Dutcher's teams. So this was like a ray of hope that, okay, maybe this can be one of those patented Dutcher teams, right? Turn things around, start peaking.
It'll be tough, man. Like, I wanted to say real quick, this is what the strangeness of this season is, right? We beat Boise by 17. We beat Nevada by 19. Boise State beat San Jose State by 27. San Jose State loses to us by 3. Nevada beat San Jose State by 15. So we barely beat San Jose State, but the teams that blew out San Jose State, we blew them out. So it's what's the guy on college basketball?
Who, Rossi?
Yeah, it's not college basketball. It's anarchy.
Anarchy.
It's anarchy.
Yeah, like you sit here like
it's just Mountain West basketball.
Yeah, man. Like, and the Mountain West is. Let's not forget. Everybody pisses on us, right? 6 last year, 4 the year before. I believe it was 3 the year before that, or something like that. We might get 3 this year. So, like, the ACC's got 3. So, I mean, but then whatever. But it's like, it just shows the consistency of this conference is still top heavy, first 4 or 5 teams. But this is still a good conference, and you just never know what's going to happen, man, on any given night.
Could be a really wild conference tournament.
Yeah, man, I think so. How the seeding? I mean, the seeding's going to flip. I mean, New Mexico's pretty much won. Utah State.
We'll get into that because they played each other today. We're going to get into that in just a second, guys. And the comments. Just hold that thought 1 second. Going to take a quick time out. We're about mid-episode here, guys. Make sure you guys are checking out the online shop. Look at those handsome gentlemen right there. Good Lord. Check out the NIL shop. We got some new things from the ladies team. Of course, some posters, Villalobos, Cazada, the Goon Squad merch is off the hook. Of course, I got one of these coming in the mail very, very soon. Got to represent the Goon Squad. And, of course, the Catapult U collab that we have with Mr. John Schaefer and the Mesa Foundation. I know Mesa Foundation had their open practice. For those of you who are certain level members, you can definitely take advantage of that. So a lot of cool things going on in the NIL shop as amongst some other items that we have there as well. Just Sons of Montezuma related. So definitely check that out, guys. Save 15% off. I believe it is 15% off. Is that what it is? 15% off using the promo code MONTY Monty at checkout. Do us a solid and do that this week. Do that. All right, guys. Let's get into some of these comments and whatever else you guys want to talk about, because this game was exciting. It's motivating for everybody. I know Fiend was questioning, hey, if we lose another one, is anybody going to show up at the arena? Is it going to be an empty arena?
Yeah, what? I heard that. I was like, what the fuck am I listening to right now, dude? I'm glad I jumped off the pod.
What Bills was asking, how was the atmosphere in Viejas last night? Fiend, how could you best explain how the atmosphere was? It was a blackout.
But we were wearing white.
Yeah, and they were wearing black.
They were wearing black.
Yeah,
I don't understand that at all. But someone said that it might have actually worked out to our benefit, because since they're wearing black and our crowd was wearing black, they had a couple passes that sailed like into the crowd. Maybe they, out of the corner of their eye, they thought that was a teammate, but no, it was, your uncle in the second row. Like,
so the crowd caused some turnovers,
possibly,
because they couldn't see. It's kind of like how Boise uses the blue jerseys at home on the blue court. Is that kind of the same?
Yeah.
Okay. I can live with that. But it was a good atmosphere. I thought everybody was hyped up. The crowd, anytime we did something good, they propelled them to extend that run, especially on defense. That's what you love at home. When we shut them down, what was 2 5-minute scoring droughts for Boise. So that came into play.
You gotta love Nick Boyd. I mean, he's always getting the crowd into it, pumping his arms up, and the crowd responds, and that gets us going. And yeah, all those blocks that we have, and then just the big shots, him getting to the rim. I mean, it was a great atmosphere last night. I must say, fantastic. And we're on a win streak here, right? So people are gonna continue to show up.
Oh boy, are we reading the chat here, Mike? Are we reading the chat? Don't get ahead of ourselves. What else? Let's see. Whose comment should we read? Whose comment should we read? Okay, Jesse says we got to jumpstart the offense, but I think in this game it was such a grinded out game that the possessions were kind of slowed down. Is that an excuse? I don't know. I don't know if that's an excuse, but it was old school basketball in a sense.
We controlled the game. We didn't allow it to control us. You know what I mean? I think they were up 9-4, and then we just went on a run. I think at one point we were at 29-5 run, right? And I think, sorry, dude, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I believe we've have 11 plus 14-0 runs this year as a team, the most we've ever had. 11 plus. Just think of all the good teams we've ever had. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. Yeah. We won by 17 points. I mean, the offense was jump started enough because the defense was, locking them down. So we did what we had to do. 17 points is an impressive win, and it definitely showed in the metrics. I think we jumped up from 53 to 50 in the net, and we jumped up in KenPom as well. That helps you when you win by those bigger spreads, and just tremendous performance by our guys last night.
I like Kurt, jumping in here with the data, 54% field goal and 40 from three. I mean, you'll live with those numbers, no matter how slow the game may be or low scoring the game may be. If it's efficient and you're hitting shots, like you're going to live with that. So the defense controlled it. They controlled the pace, like Mike said, it controlled the game, defense.
Only 12 threes this game, which is just wild. I mean, because we've been taking like 23, 24, so it's like half the threes, but then we made about as many threes as we had been making before. We're just not chucking up a bunch of bad shots, basically. So very efficient game offensively. So 64 points against this Boise State team, when you can keep them to 47 is impressive victory.
I think there is something to that though, because let's talk about New Mexico and Utah State a little bit, kind of relating to what's going on in the chat. Like, they played today. Obviously, it was a Sunday game, Mountain West, kind of a rare Sunday game, and I watched it. I don't know if you guys watched the whole thing. It was a great game. Came down to the end. Yeah. Utah State had a lead on them and looked like they were going to run away with it. New Mexico comes back. I mean, it was back and forth. Utah State looked cooked in the final 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden they tie it. So New Mexico prevailed at home. I say that kind of sad, but it's like, who do you want to win? Whoever. Just beat each other up. But when you play those two teams, and now with this win over Boise, we're back in that third spot with Colorado State. But now the opportunity ahead is, okay, can you play your position into that third spot? Well, now with Utah State losing, there's a realistic chance to get that number 2 spot. Got Logan coming up on Saturday. So everyone, I'm sure a lot of you guys were watching that game today against New Mexico. And when it comes to playing those teams, I think the offense is going to have to get kick-started. You can't have the droughts. You got to be consistent the whole way through. Somebody last night in our celebrations was saying, we had Utah State. We beat those guys, and we let them back in. We let them off the hook, right? So you're feeling good in a certain sense. You got to go on the road in that environment. That's going to be fun. But I like this comment from Brian. Says, even though we lost big, playing at the pit was good for us because of how young our squad is. You know, you never like to lose big, but for the youth of this team, you hope that prepares them to go into Logan, the whatever they call it, the Spectrum or something like that, and be able to perform despite the energy that's coming at you. We'll see. I'm excited. New Mexico, Utah State, that was a great game. But now we're in this position. Like I said, it's before us. If we want to get that number 2 spot, it can happen.
Just win, baby. Just keep winning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Well, I think this kind of proves like how we've been playing. Every game is unique, and you can't base your success on what happened in the past. Every game is going to be a unique challenge, and I think these guys will be up to the challenge. I think we do play better when the competition is better. We'll see. I mean, Logan is such a tough place to play at, but right now Utah State is not playing very good basketball. Other than today, they almost beat New Mexico. I mean, that was a good performance, but when you look at like their metrics, they have not been performing very well, especially on the defensive end. They've been giving up a lot of points, but we'll see. I mean, it's one game at a time, and I think they are a different team at the Spectrum than they are on the road. So we'll see. And then New Mexico, obviously, they're playing the best basketball of anyone in the conference right now. They have a swagger, they have confidence, they have arguably 2 of the best players in the conference in Dent and Junior Joseph. So that is going to be an electric environment at Viejas. Revenge game like it was last year. Remember when they came to our place? We want that bad. We do not want to drop to New Mexico, and we'll see. But we got to get by Fresno State, and that's a huge landmine coming in. I think UNLV struggled with them this weekend.
Trap game alert for
trap
sure.
Game quad 4, right? It's our last quad 4 game, I believe, because it's at home. And yeah, I mean, so we have to be up for that game and put them away, put them to bed early.
They Fresno State, when I say they lost to UNLV by 1 point, 52-51. I mean, just an ugly game. It doesn't matter who coaches at Fresno State. It doesn't matter who plays there. They want to play ugly, no matter what type of style they try to change up. It's like their goal is just to play ugly. 52-51. And what's up with UNLV? Every year, it's the same thing. Every year, no matter how talented, like you said, I mean, all the hype. They start off hot and then just barely getting by Fresno. So it's a trap game for sure on Tuesday, man. We got to handle that. Got to handle business if we want to even talk about Utah State. Which I do, though. I do. I mean, you got to beat Fresno State. Like, it's not even a question. At home, Tuesday night. The last 2 games for Utah State, of course, they lost 79-82 today against New Mexico in the game we're talking about. And then before that, took down Colorado State at home. Was that the game earlier in the week on Tuesday?
Yeah.
But they're letting up a lot of points. Like you're saying, Fiend, metrically, I don't know what their offense. I mean, they're putting up a lot of points on offense, but I would think on defensive side, it looks like they're giving up a lot as well. So payback in the Spectrum, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's in the cards, but it's right there. Foslov is a player, though. Watching him against New Mexico, he's a talented player, man. And they're all very smart. They're all very heady players. Questionable refereeing in New Mexico in the pit. Go figure. First half was like all fouls on Utah State. It was ridiculous.
I think some of that has to do with their defense. So they're just not as good defensively. And so when you're not as good defensively, you're going to rack up more fouls. I think New Mexico is a better defensive team. And yes, they were playing at home. Maybe they were getting a favorite whistle, but I don't think that really determined the outcome in the game. I just think that New Mexico is a better team. But, Utah State, they came out and their ability to come back when they're down is pretty impressive. I mean, they did it against us. They almost did it today against New Mexico. You can never count them out.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's because of how smart they are. Like you mentioned, how heady they are. They make good basketball plays. And Ian Martinez from deep late in the game, he's pretty good.
Oh, Curtis, I like it. Says we need to keep driving downhill like we have done the last 2 games. I couldn't agree more. I think that's the key. You don't want to fall in love with the 3 and get into a shooting match with these guys, either New Mexico or Utah State. Just don't want to do it, right? You want to keep that aggressiveness. You want to keep attacking, because one of the things we've been harping on is free throws. We still don't get to the line enough, but it was enough this past game. That's something that against better competition you're gonna have to do. That first game against New Mexico, I don't think we went to the line maybe not even 8 times, 7 times. You're not gonna win any game against good competition like that if you don't force the action offensively and not fall in love with the 3. So to me, that's just basic. That's just basic.
I think a lot of it too is like you're taking what the defense gives you, right? So like in this last game, they were not sagging down as much. And a big part of that, I think, was when Boyd had the ball going to his left, a lot of times they had Bird in the corner, right? So he was available there if his guy dropped down on Boyd, right? Make that pass. Open 3, they respect Bird's 3-point shot, so they weren't crashing down. There was no help there. Bird, once he's able to get a guy on his hip and get past them, it's a bucket. So very impressive. But we're gonna have to knock down open 3-point shots, because teams will start crashing down and protecting the middle, because they don't want to give up layups. You don't want to give up layups. You don't want to give up open 3s either, because both of those will kill you. But I think if teams were to try to play the numbers game, with the way that we shoot 3s, they probably would prefer us to take 3s over layups.
Yeah, that's for sure. No, that's a good point about Boyd going to his left, right? I mean, you want to have him go to the right, I would think. But getting Bird some open. Do we need to talk anything about Bird? I mean, I know his offensive game has been struggling as of late to catch on. It feels like he's letting the game come to him rather than forcing anything, which is good. And then in the second half, he seems to catch on a little bit towards the end of the game, which I'm okay with, right? I mean, if everybody is like I'm seeing, if McKinney and Boyd are attacking the rim, that's a recipe for success. Andrew's saying, I agree. Bird does so many different things that you can kind of afford him to let the game come to him, as we've been doing the last few. But it takes everybody to step up, really, to afford that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Bird does so many different things. I mean, steals, blocks, assists, rebounds. Where he's really been struggling from is the 3-point range. And I think a lot of that just comes down to shot selection. Like he's just got to take better shots. Some of those shots he's taking from way deep. He could pump fake the guy, take one dribble, pull, get closer to the line, and then fire it. I shared with you guys a little comparison that I did between Bird, and Adam Seiko. And with Bird, like he shoots these really, really long 3s. He only shoots 30% from the really deep ones. He gets closer to the line, he shoots 37%. But he's actually taking more of the deeper 3s than he is the closer threes. So you'd like to see him get a little closer to the line. And some of it is like where he positions himself for catch and shoot is like, 6 feet behind the 3-point line. And like a guy like Adam Seiko, he shot 43%. And didn't matter whether it was close to the 3-point line or far away from the 3-point line, right? But he mostly took shots because he was so shot disciplined close to the 3-point line. So just like to see Bird had his only 3-pointer of the game. It was a play that they ran out of the second half, and he got on a screen off of JCJ, got right up to the line, planted his feet, set it, fired it, and it was perfect. But some of these other shots that he's taking, they're just too far out. Got to pump fake the guy, get him up in the air, take one dribble. Seiko was elite at that. Get the guy flying in the air, one dribble, get closer to the line, set your feet, fire it, or just catch and shoot, try to get closer to the line. But these shots from 28 feet, man, he's just not hitting those.
I could kind of understand the tactic in doing it, right? I mean, one thing Steph Curry did was he changed the game as far as the 3-point shot, right? Not everybody's Curry. Not everybody could do that, right?
Not everyone's Adam Seiko.
But what I'm saying, well, yeah, of course, and I see what you're saying. Seiko didn't play the biggest minutes sample sizes wise, but I mean he was deadly. There's no argument
Look at
against
his
it.
shot. No.
Like I said, there's no argument against it. Fiend, relax. My point is with Curry. Well, I'm saying that style of play, he changed the game to where more people are shooting those deep threes, right? And with Dutcher, one of the things he said keys to the game is the spacing. So I understand the mentality of wanting to stretch out the defense occasionally and doing that. If you knock down a couple, you got to take them into account. Stretches the court out a little bit, right?
Yeah, but look at the percentages, though. You can get those guys like Shackle and Seiko were able to get enough space. There's plenty of spacing there. To get closer to the line, right? It's just in gamesmanship, in shot faking, things like that. And I've seen him do it. I've seen him, shot fake, get closer to the line, pull up, take a three, splash. That's all I'd like to see with Bird is I'd like to see him get closer to the 3-point line. I think that's going to help his confidence when he sees more 3-pointers go in. If he wants to take a heat check every now and then, fine. But if he's consistently doing that, where he's setting up 6-8 feet beyond the 3-point line, it's understanding that you're not Steph Curry. It's understanding that you're not Adam Seiko. And the numbers back that up. So he shoots much better when he's closer to the 3-point line. Find ways to get him closer to the 3-point line, or teach him ways that he can outwit his opponents so that he can get closer.
Very well put. Mike, you're getting kind of quiet over there, man. Is this boring you?
I just know you don't ever get in between Fiend and Adam Seiko. It's the most dangerous place in the world to be.
He is one of my favorite Aztecs.
I know that. That's
just because of how they just were such good shooters. They're so efficient. They never take bad shots. And that I love. I just love that.
I know. I was just like, I can't. Matt's gonna keep going. When's he gonna realize what's happening here? You gotta just. No. Okay. Yes. All right. Thanks.
Oh boy, Brian. I like when Bird just flows with the game. He's like a smaller Billy White in terms of fire and passion. I agree with that, and he does multiple things. But yeah, I'm enjoying the flow of the game. Comes up big with those shots. Kind of puts the nail in the coffin as a closer in that sense. But
he went off topic last night. He had the haircut, the bandana, the short sleeve shirts. Like he hasn't worn that in a while. I looked, I was like, who is that? And then I realized
3 guys with headbands on.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's Miles.
That's awesome.
But hey man, I like when Wayne attacks the rim. I was reading the article Ziegler put out this 3 thoughts about I feel like we had so much more. Is this copyright infringement if I read this? Am I allowed to do this?
Take it down, Mike. Take it down.
As long as you credit him.
Per Mark Ziegler of the City Union Tribune, who we met in Colorado, great guy. I mean, I feel like we had so much more to give, and I didn't want regrets to replace dreams in that moment. What a powerful quote that is, dude. I don't want regrets to replace dreams. Like I philosophize about, which is a word I just made up so we could put it in the Wikipedia, a lot of stuff. And to me, that is such a poignant statement of I don't want my regrets to be, I don't want regrets to replace my dreams. That's powerful, dude. Like if you put it that way, it's when you listen to stuff and you're like, holy shit, I never thought of it like that. But then you say it the way you mentally intended to hear it, but never really heard it until someone else said it to you physically. And you're like, whoa, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So that was kind of the team meeting they had in San Jose. And, as a players only, or as a players coach, which Dutch has notoriously been monikered with, is at some point the players have to take control. And this is kind of what we've talked about. It's like, hey, you can coach all you want, you can put them in the positions they want, but until you do it, it's not going to get done. And so that team meeting, we seem to have one every couple of years, and then they go on a run. So hopefully that is the start of another one. We got after Fresno State, we have a brutal sketch coming up though. So hey,
I love that, man. I love that. I think it really just feeds into the title of the show, the intensity. You got to come out and play not desperate, but with a sense of desperation. This team, Nick Boyd came here from New York, from FAU, all the way across the whole country to play ball here in San Diego. McKinney, this is his backyard. He wanted to be an Aztec from day one, right? Of course, Miles Bird is completely an Aztec, man. I mean, he's rode with the road to the Natty. He was there, got to see it firsthand as a red shirt. I mean, this team is comprised of guys that they're here to win. They're here to play ball. So, like, I kind of just scroll past comments. No offense, guys. I scroll past comments of, is this team going to be together next year? I'm not thinking about next year, man. I'm not thinking about none of those guys. I can't imagine they're thinking about next year. So that team meeting, it's like, I can imagine being a fly on that wall. Like, you came here this year to win today. Now, not thinking about next year, not thinking about tomorrow. Like, you want to make it count. And we've heard Bird have some interesting quotes before talking about he thinks this team is destined for greatness. You're not going to change his mind. Not going to change anybody's mind away from your visions, right? What you want, what you see in this team and your Aztec brothers when you get out there on the court. So, hey, love to hear it, man. If that's what was said there.
Yeah. And like, I got an eye on next year. I'm not going to lie, but I'm focused on this year. You got to.
We're fans. We're fans. Yeah. We could do that.
Yeah.
We could do
so
that.
I get, there's always talks about stuff about, hey, this year, next year, whatever, right? But Wayne doesn't have next year.
Right.
JCJ doesn't have next year.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for Wayne, who apparently he's kind of quiet and he doesn't speak up until he's one of those guys who he doesn't say anything, but when he does, you listen. Right. I had a buddy like that when I was trying to figure out if I was dating my wife, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do, man. We were playing golf and stuff. And he said to me, and this is a similar ilk of individual. He didn't say a lot, right? But he goes, Mike, you can marry any number of women. It's who you want to fight the battles with. You can marry any number of women. You're going to have the same problems with all of them. It's who you want to fight the battles with. And I was like, man, shit, that makes sense. And that's kind of like in terms of Wayne, like it sounds like he doesn't speak up, but when he says stuff like that, don't let your regrets become your dreams. That's like almost like, some biblical scripture there and shit. You know what I mean? That's deep. Yeah. That's deep, emotionally charged, intellectual comment of like, I would have never even thought of something like that, but it's just such a great sentence that I'm going to use it again. You know what I mean?
Well, and you're also talking about an individual who's been through some things, to get on the court
Yeah.
And you have to take that into account, man. I mean, it's
Hometown.
knowledge out there. Hometown, battle through some illnesses just to get into this position.
Yeah.
You're going to play out there with some desperation. You're going to attack the rim. You're going to do whatever it takes to get that ball in there. And it's great to see, man. It's great to see.
I was sharing on the last podcast, kind of the lack of intensity that we were seeing from these guys and kind of similarities to 2023 when they called that meeting after the Nevada game and said, hey, we this is our season. Like, we need to step it up. We're not playing the level of basketball it takes to be successful. And it's great that they have that understanding, that awareness, and now they're moving, hopefully moving in the right direction together as a team, and that can be a very, very powerful moment, kind of a sort of like a changing moment to the season, like it did in 2023, sort of redefining your purpose, right? And setting your course in motion towards the postseason, towards the conference tournament, hopefully an at-large bid or automatic bid to the NCAA tournament and beyond, and so, yeah, these guys, there is no tomorrow, right? There is no tomorrow, like Apollo Creed said to Rocky, you only have, this time is going to go so quick. The next 2, whatever month or so, it's going to go by so fast, and then their careers are going to be over for college, so you gotta savor every day and come ready to bring it.
Shout out. How do you say that? 10 says my wife is listening with me and she liked that quote, Mike. She said, "Oh, yeah, hey man, that's real stuff. That's real stuff."
It's not my quote. I mean, I stole it from my buddy, but I'll take it. No, man, like everybody's, it's long days, fast years, right? So you get there.
Yeah. It's
true. I mean, you're like, all of a sudden you're like, hey, what, this time last year we were in New Mexico and stuff like that. So there is like Coach, I've seen some stuff with Dutch who says you're only here for a certain amount of time to play basketball and you won't get to do it again. Why don't you just give it your all? Why don't you just give it your all and see what happens? Essentially,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you gotta believe, man. You gotta believe.
The simplicities of the game is not that much. It's the mental hurdles that people have to go through to get to back to the simplistics of it, and like do what got you here. And if you do what's got you here in the framework of help of the other guys being able to do what they can do as well without you impeding them, then your team is going to be really good. You know what I mean? So like when you see us not play well, it's because they're not playing as a team, or guys are trying to play their game, but not their game with the team.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's nice to see them play the way they did last night. And like, obviously last week, I didn't watch the San Jose State game, to be honest. I was so sick, man. It was brutal, dude. You could probably tell on the last podcast, but I was out and I looked, I'm like, and I came up the next morning, I'm like, oh, all right, man, whatever, dude, W, right? But just find a way to win each game, as each game is its own story that you have to write, and they're not all the same. Like I said, the weird thing about, like you guys were saying, the bottom half we struggle with, but then the top half outside of New Mexico and Utah State, we've done pretty well. So I don't know, man. You know what I mean? That's the consistency part that I think that drives us nuts, more so than the youthness of this group, 2 Utes, but it's the inconsistency that Nick was saying. We got to get consistent. We have to be consistent, and if we do, then we're going to put ourselves in a good position. And I think that's kind of, again, what we've been trying to say, but we didn't say it as well as he did. Let's kind of summarize what we said in a less chaotic way.
Thank you, Angelica. I gotta give her little sound right there for the super. Gotta add a comment or a question in there, girl. You gotta get in there. Thank you though so much. Thank you for your guys' support. Love what Mike is saying there. And for anybody wondering, yes, Sons of Montezuma, completely independent fan, supporters, community, whatever you want to call it. Whatever it is that we do here, sonsofmontezuma.com. Love it, man. Even though you didn't watch the San Jose State game, I get it, man. I get it.
It was rough, bro. Whatever was going around, it was rough, dude.
Coming back from the Rocky Mountains was.
I don't know what it was, man, but I was fine Monday morning, and then like Monday afternoon, it just hit me like a bag of rocks, dude. It sounds like it's going around to a lot of people, so be safe out there, man.
Well, imagine this team is playing ball, traveling in those conditions as well, doing what they got to do, practice, all that stuff. We just get to talk about it and have some fun, We just get to do that. But yeah, the consistency. Can't overlook Fresno on Tuesday, guys. Tuesday night. Is that 8 o'clock game or 7 o'clock game?
8:15.
Woo.
Late.
Another late night of Mountain West action.
Smelling like cow poop up there in Fresno.
Thank God it's here.
You should go check it out. I would go with you to Fresno again. I would go to just check, just to watch it.
No. I have no desire to go to the Save Mart Center. No desire. Thank God it's here, though. It's in Viejas. We'll be there. Thank you to everybody for saying hello at the games. Like I said, I saw some blocked by Gwath shirts out there. It's always cool to see some Sons of Monty gear in the building at Viejas. So thank you guys for supporting. Make sure you guys are checking out that NIL shop. Oh, somebody was sitting behind Fiend. Oh man, we heard the whistle. You can't not hear the whistle. Can't unhear the whistle.
Yeah, no, he was talking about the Houston game. Yeah, that was. He said that
okay.
he was saying that this last game really reminded him of the way that we played against Houston, and I think Nick Boyd really kind of he hit it right on the head during the post game interview with John Schaefer when he was talking about how they just had to kind of simplify their approach and not overthink, and when you're overthinking, then that's when you don't play your best, and so just playing loose, playing free, and getting back to the way that they played beginning of the season, which is what they did against Houston and Creighton and had such success. So glad to see they're going back to their roots, and hopefully this continues moving forward.
The show up in boots.
Guys, here's a random question from Mr. Cesar Gutierrez. Which team do you want to see join the Pac? The Pac-12. I know it's kind of random away from what we've been talking about, but we are going to be in the Pac-12 with some of these teams: Boise, Colorado State, Fresno, like what we've been talking. UNLV will not be in the Pac-12. It sounds like they're still holding out with dreams of the Big 12 or whatever they're thinking. But Caesar says, who do you guys want to see join in the Pac-12 moving forward? He suggests UCSD or UNLV. I'm saying UNLV all day on that one. I'm very proud of UCSD. Like I love what they're building over there. I really do. I like it a lot. But they don't play football.
And this is only their first year in Division I. That they're not first year, but the first year that they're eligible for the NCAA tournament, right? And who knows, that coach is probably going to get picked up by a bigger program. What he's doing is amazing. We'll see if they, when they go through a couple of coaches, because I don't believe that he's going to be there long term. But we'll see if they have the staying power. But it is really impressive that we could have two teams in San Diego in the NCAA tournament this year.
It wouldn't be the first time. Would it? USD? They haven't made it in a while, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, long time.
I'm with UNLV all day, like Ryan. I think UNLV. I don't know what they're thinking, but I think they need the immediate cash, and maybe they have their sights set on something else, like I said. But that's my pick. I don't know who the Pac-12 is going to add on, but it's got to be a football. It's got to be a football thing, first and foremost. All right, guys, how you feeling? I think it's a good point in time to wrap this show up. Tuesday night, Fresno State, 8 o'clock at Viejas. We'll be there. Aztecs, got to keep it rolling. you got to protect home court, and of course it's Fresno, so can't give them any room to talk. There were some Boise fans at Eureka after the game, and we gave them the business. Anyways, appreciate you all for joining the stream. Sorry again for starting it late, but better late than never. And keep it locked to sonsofmontezuma.com this week. We'll have some coverage of this Tuesday game, and I know we got some football things coming up very soon. Spring ball is right around the corner, so and as well as other sports, because I know the softball and baseball are also heating up. Softball's looking great. Oh, okay, guys.
Basketball won
again. Women's looks good.
Won again, yeah.
At home.
Yeah, I was there at the Utah State game. Tough game. I mean, the Utah State women's team had only won 2 games this year, and they were neck and neck with the Aztecs until the fourth quarter, and then we started dropping bombs. Aaron out and Hopped, I think is her name, and Pangabana. I can't even say her name. You know who I'm talking about. Raining threes. That was the difference in the game, and so yeah, fun day. At Viejas, saw 2 Aztec wins on Saturday.
And I think the ladies were wearing black too, right?
Yes.
All right, Mike, quit moving around. You keep getting blurry.
I don't know, man. It's not, whatever.
All good. Everybody, thank you again. We're going to call it a night. Until next time, sonsofmontezuma.com. Tuesday, beat Fresno. And we'll see. Maybe we have to do a watch party this Saturday somewhere. We'll let you guys know. Go Aztecs, everybody. Go Aztecs. Beat the dogs. Beat them dogs, them dirty dogs.
I'm back.
Yes.
Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs. Happy Valentine's Day. Related to everyone.
That was a long time ago, dude. That was a long time ago, man. That's over.
It was like 2 days ago.
See you guys.
Right.
Have a good night.
Later. Go Aztecs.
Good night.
Yee.
The Fresno.